welcome to week 4 of English 101. This week we will be discussing audience, formation of a paragraph, a little bit of grammar, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of tips and tricks in terms of finding sources, and then I'm going to close out with a short discussion about academic plagiarism. So I'm also going to upload a couple of more videos that hopefully will help you, but this kind of gives you a basic overview of all of the topics we will be discussing this week. Okay, so I'm not going to get too much into the audience section because I do feel like the lesson explains that pretty well. But just remember, you're writing your essay for me, I'm your audience, and although I'm not an overly formal and overly academic person, although my background is in English, of course, I do expect you to take an academic tone in your essays because this is good practice for future assignments as well in other classes. Also, the lesson does give you a very good explanation about how to create a paragraph. Remember, we started last week with the thesis statement and then the essay map. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to create a paragraph based upon the essay map in your thesis statement. So quickly, a paragraph starts with a topic sentence, and that's the first point or whatever point you are deciding to write about in that essay map within the thesis statement. Then you have points within that paragraph that proves the topic sentence, and then you have a concluding sentence that kind of ties everything up together. Now with your body paragraphs, and this is when you actually tie your entire paper together, you need to make sure you have transitions. So for example, first, also, in addition, you always need to tie in a transitional word that before you write your topic sentence, so it kind of like makes your essay flow a little bit better. All right. So let's go through my expectations for the body paragraph. Again, I really do want you to read through the lesson. I have noticed that some students are not reading the lesson. Probably not you because you're watching this video, but it is critical that everyone reads the lesson so they understand what the requirements are for the assignments. I'm going to make sure this isn't too soft. Okay, so first, with the discussion forums, you are continuing on that track that you began last week where you chose one of these topics and then you wrote a thesis statement with 3 points in your week 3 discussion. Well, this week you're going to expand one of those 3 points into a body paragraphs. And there's some little bit of background research that you might have to do to find out more information about the chosen topic and or point. That's fine. I'm going to show you briefly later about how to do that. I also wanted to let you know that if you need to change it around your thesis statement and maps, points within your thesis map, in light of what you found or you decide it doesn't work as well, that's fine too. You can change your thesis statement or your essay map at any time. All right? You're not wedded to that thesis at any time. You can change it around whenever you please. All right? As long as it fits the assignment, I'm fine with that. All right? Then you have another assignment that you hand in that's very similar to the discussion forum, but in this one, you're handing in 2 body paragraphs. All right, so in the discussions, you're only doing 1, but in the assignment, you're doing 2. You need to kind of form the 3 on your own, but I will only be correcting 2. All right. Also, I wanted to point out, and we'll go through this a little bit, is that I do want you to stay away from any sort of direct quotations. You do not need to put any citations in your paragraph at this time. Do not use outside sources. If I find that you're doing that, I'm just going to return your essay to you. I've already received a couple where I've seen some direct quotations that were not cited. I'm returning those paragraphs for a redo. All right? And I'm going to go quickly into academic dishonesty at the end of this lesson as well. So those are the 2 main assignments. We're also going to be working on some grammar, and this is called sentence combining. A lot of students, I'm going to give you a quick example. I like college. I like college because I learn new things. I like college because the new things are in science. We know you can combine all. A lot of times students like write these short choppy sentences because they want to like take up as much of the word requirements as they possibly can, but that could be combined into one sentence. I enjoy going to an online university because the university has science courses that are well constructed or something. That's not a perfect sentence. I'm making it up on the fly, but you see how combining sentences makes your writing a little more academic and actually more interesting as well. So here I'm going to, oh, real quick, a semicolon. A lot of you get confused by semicolons. All right, and I'm going to try to explain this as slowly as possible, and I do think there will be some good examples in the grammar practice thing that follows this slide. Okay, really, it's not that hard. You use a semicolon to connect two complete sentences that work well together, or you use the semicolon to separate items in a series that contain commas. The reason why you want to use it for items in a series that contain commas is because it can be confusing if you're using colon after colon after colon. All right, and I'm hoping that, let's see, I guess it doesn't explain that here, but there's a good video that will explain it to you. All right, so I would like for you to watch this video. But basically, let's do, I'm going to say it out loud, 3 items in a series. Actually, I'll see if I can pull it up in Word real fast. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at this sentence. I like to go hunting, but only on Tuesdays. I like to run outside, but only on Friday. And every day I like to have lunch. That's a lot of commas, right? And it's hard to see the items in a series because the items have commas. So here's where you need to use a semicolon. All right, so when you have items in a series that contain commas, you need to use a semicolon. Now I'm going to give you another example of the main way to use a semicolon. Okay, that's a very basic sentence, but let's say you want to combine the two sentences. One of the ways you can combine it is to use a semicolon. And this is a complete sentence, right? Or two complete sentences. You have two subjects. It and I have always enjoyed attending college is the predicate. Is fun to learn new things is a predicate. And then for me, as we discussed last week, it is a prepositional phrase. All right, so that's another way to learn how to use the semicolon. And since we're here, let's find other ways to combine sentences. All right. Okay, so the because is a subordinate conjunction. So what follows because is subordinate to the main sentence. Okay, so you can use a subordinate conjunction to combine two sentences as well. Another thing you could do, and is a coordinate conjunction. So when you have and, it means that both sentences are equal to each other. So if you think of a scale, when you use because, it's subordinate, and so this tips the scale, right? But then when you have a coordinate conjunction like and, both sides are equivalent to each other. And a nifty little point, and a comma works just like a semicolon. All right, so there are those are the two ways to use a semicolon. I know that sometimes students get confused by that, so I figured I'd give you a little example there. All right, so today what I want you to show you briefly as I can, because I'm quite talkative. Thank God you don't have me in a face-to-face class, because I'd always keep you after class and because I'd be talking so much. So I really have to contain myself online. But anyway, that's off track. So I want you to try also to use the library to find information about your topic. Because let's go ahead and pretend that you're using Google, right? So this is regular Google, and you're interested in language programs in the United States, right? You enter that in as a general search term. Well, here's the problem. That contains 484,000 sources that just discuss this. That's too many. Let's say you're using Google Scholar, right? So you decide to add in the same thing here. That still brings up a ton of sources, 1,010 sources. That's a huge amount of sources for you to have to sift through to get more information about your topic. And I apologize for the noise in the background. That is my washing machine. And I've already restarted and started this, so I'm not going to restart again. So anyway, so let's say this is the opening to the library. What I want you to do is go to Articles and Databases A through Z. And the way you go through that, let's go to the home page. All right, and then this is the home page. Instead of using the everything search, which is a pain in the neck, I should say, click on the A through Z list, and you're going to find a number of databases here. But mainly for most of your classes as an undergrad, you're going to want to use the following A through Z sources, all right? You're going to want to try out Academic Search Premier, also Nexus Uni, which basically brings up newspaper sources and magazine sources, which sometimes are more approachable than the peer-reviewed essays. And if you're not assigned to read a peer-reviewed essay, I would go ahead and try Nexus Uni. And then finally, you have ProQuest. And these are the three databases that will be most useful for you as a student. So remember, when you went into Google Scholar, you found 1,010 sources. But then you decided to use ProQuest, all right? And you entered in language programs in the United States, and you found 436 sources. It's not perfect, but it still has really limited your search term. What you have found through your search terms, which does make it a little easier for you to find sources. And the other thing I was going to mention is that ProQuest, when you do enter in these search terms, will bring sources up to the front that fits your search terms mostly. So for example, this one has it in the title. This one has it in the subject. Instead of just having it randomly located somewhere in the article, it's right up front. So this is ProQuest. And then the final one is Nexus Uni. And so look at how many sources are there now, 49. All right, so when you are searching, it is good to have specific search terms, but also it is good to use a specific database because you aren't inundated with thousands of sources. That is a huge time waster. You are wasting time when you do just a regular Google search. All right? You need to find the specific database to help you find sources. The other thing is when you move further in your college career, let's say you're going into Intel, right? Then you can go to the subjects A through Z, click on the subject, and that will pick up on the specific databases that work with your field. All right, finally, I wanted to end with the academic dishonesty policy at APUS. All right? So when you upload your assignments through the assignment sections of the classroom, it automatically goes to turnitin.com. Turnitin not only checks your paper for websites, it also checks your paper for essays that you have copied from Course Hero, from essays that other students have uploaded, from essays that you have handed in previously. So that is a warning. Also, Turnitin looks at word similarities. So I've seen students try to change every third word. Well, guess what? Turnitin will pick up that as well. Do not plagiarize, because when you do, I have to report it. I have no choice. I have to report it. Now, obviously, you get a second chance in this course because it is a beginning writing course, but I do have to report it. Please do not plagiarize. So briefly, here is what is considered plagiarism. Using a quote and not adding an in-text citations. All right? So let's say you used a direct quote and you have the in-text citation, but you forgot to use quotation marks. That is also considered plagiarism. You need to use quotation marks around direct quotations, or it will be considered plagiarism and you have to use an in-text citation. All right, some of these are obvious, but also when you submit assignments again from another course, that is also considered plagiarism. I know it sounds a little weird, but we call it self-plagiarism. And the reason why it's plagiarism is you're trying to gain credit twice for the same assignment. Each class has these requirements that you must meet to get the credit. If you're allowed to write the same paper over and over again and get the same credit, it hurts the status of the university. It hurts accreditation. And it means that you're not learning as much as you could be if you completed the other assignment that you were assigned. All right? So I am going to offer a video that explains this a little deeper. But as for now, I'm going to stop here. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you online. See you soon, guys.